of course, Ferrari's biggest fan, as this first sprint weekend of the 2024 Formula 1 season continues over here with the Grand Prix qualifying proper. So over here, you've obviously, know that in practice one I did well. You've seen the sprint qualifying and how the weather prevented me from extending my run of the perfect pole positions and obviously the perfect sessions in the 2024 season. But then you saw the amazing sprint as I simply pushed and carved my way through the field to score that memorable sprint victory. And now, of course, we can adjust the car, we can change the setup a little bit if we wish to, of course, because it is time for the qualifying. Then the park fairway rules will once again come into the effect, so you are able to change after the sprint race and before the qualifying for the Grand Prix. You are allowed to change your setup, which we haven't really needed to do because we were so much on the fire. But now the important part is coming, and that is to make sure that we can qualify on pole position, right? Because again, remember, as I told you for the sprint qualifying, the first sprint qualifying of the season, which you could have seen yesterday, we've only been once over here on pole position, right? So clearly in 2016-2016 and in 2017-2017 we started from the back, we were able to win, so we have a lot of confidence that we can win nevertheless, and obviously score that elusive third win over here in China. But again, it's gonna be definitely challenging for us, right? So it's important to start from the pole position, because if we have to start from the back of the grid once again, that will simply make it more difficult. Again, we do know that we can overtake, but we were just able, to basically get to the lead with 5 laps to go during the sprint. So, what happens in qualifying? Do you think I will be donning that beautiful Paris Olympics 2024 Golden Olympic medal, which is our shiny pole position trophy? What do you think? Sadly not. So, yeah, it must be a curse over here in China. I don't know. I went to Shanghai, obviously, got stopped at the customs, and obviously, that was one of the worst experiences when I had to go through the immigration, in the summer. So clearly, something is not right here at Shanghai, but it's mostly only for the qualifyings. In a race, it's all, pretty much, the way it should be. So over here, we will go and... yeah, well, what can I tell you? For the first time in a really long time, over a year pretty much, we haven't made it into the Q3. So you do know, last year in Mexico, we got eliminated in the Q2. Obviously, sometimes, because the format was different, right, in F1 23. So if you did badly in a sprint, like in a Belgium sprint, for example, we had to start from a back row. But it hasn't happened to us. I believe pretty much since Azerbaijan, isn't it? That we had to start in a back, because we haven't even made it into the Q2. So we got stuck in Q1, and that was mostly because once again it started raining. The mistake that we made is that usually we double check that everything is okay, right? Once you are, so you select, go to the next session, you go to the qualifying one, the time starts immediately. You don't have the time to prepare, right? So basically I had to check the setup. So that was really the issue, because, I just wanted to be a bit more cautious, because once I go out, I cannot change the car. So, of course, you might be wondering why I just didn't go. Well, I should have been prepared, yes. But I didn't want to, change some of the parts, on the engine, and I shouldn't have done that, because basically, when I left, you have 18 minutes for Q1, right? You have 15 minutes for Q2, 12 minutes for the Q3. So when I left, it was like, 14... basically 14 minutes 30 seconds roughly. So definitely already lost some time. So I was kind of in the back of the queue, but I was still able. I could have qualified, but again, the lap would have to be perfect, and I would have to avoid any slippering. So what happened was that the rain intensity got worse and worse, right? But if, for example, with 18 minutes on the clock, you would immediately go, you would get the track in a good, decent condition, and maybe you would have even been able to continue, do one more lap at still decent conditions, to just put in a bank lap that's good enough, that is obviously much slower than what we, for example, achieved on the soft tires in the practice one, and make sure that you can qualify for the qualifying 2, which sadly didn't happen. I mean, had a couple of moments here and there Also, the sound won't be that great as you will see it on this beautiful Scuderia Ferrari Teammate, so excuse that. But yeah, overall, basically, I already made a mistake coming out of the final corner, so you will see that I carried significantly less speed than, for example, for that SQ3 at the sprint qualifying 3-time, and I wasn't able to make it. But actually, Charles Leclerc, who was behind me, we got almost the same time. And you know, at the moment, it looked like, you know, when I crossed the line, at that moment, it looked like, you know, we were, I believe, you know, 13, 14. So it looked like, you know, we would be able, you know, to qualify, but then we got bumped, you know, by obviously Leclerc bumped me down. Then Norris, you know, bumped me into P16, and obviously also Perez. So really disappointing. I really wanted to put that SF1000 T818 Formula 1 Racing Simulator on a pole position. This is now the run of 2 qualifying sessions that we didn't do well. Well, we next, the good thing is that after a short break, we will then go to Miami, where we've always been on pole position. So I'm sure, you know, we're gonna do really well there. But here, you know, in China, it wasn't the case. So let me show it to you. There won't be any celebrations, and it will be a difficult race for us. So over here, you know, again, this weekend obviously is very busy with all the action. So let's take a look at it. We will take you in very close, and yeah, hopefully, you know, we will learn from the situation. So let me bring you in. You can see the beautiful Formula 1 racing simulators over here. It looks so great, right? Yeah, so as you can see, changeable conditions over here. And yeah, you can already see I'm in a 4th gear, right? You know, about to accelerate, but clearly this is far from the ideal situation. So you guys, let's go for what I hope will be the worst qualifying session of the year, because I definitely don't want to be starting so far from the back of the grid. Again, that reminds me of the beginnings of the last year, which were very painful. Okay, so the sound is not good, but yeah, I'm checking everything. This is the time that will, this is the lap that will determine where I will be. So you can see I almost flew off the track. So a lot of struggles over here, a lot of struggles. You know, here I definitely lost at least half a second. That could have put me into qualifying 2, and then obviously we could have played the conditions better. It still looks beautiful on the Scuderia Red Retina iMac, but you can see there's just a lot of rain. We have no traction, you know, coming out. Like here, we cannot hug the inside at all. We try to keep with the right gears, but you can see me downshifting to 3rd over here. We can hardly make a turn in. That's flat out 4th gear. So much time lost. Look at the difference to Hülkenberg. Almost 1 second, but then with Bottas, we are actually up on him. He would qualify. He would go on to Q2, but here, yeah, this was very costly. So this cost us a lot. That was the biggest slide that we had. And of course, you know, we're using the battery, we're using all the power. Come on, Jan Svalik's champion! You can make it! Yeah, far from perfect. You can see hard to hit the apex. It takes forever to get on the traction. Can we make it? This is so slow actually. And yeah, P14, and yeah, progressively it will get worse. And yeah, in the end, you know, we try again. We obviously even went with a new set of tires, but you can see in the end, over here, this is how the qualifying finished. We, at the moment, don't actually know. This is one of the interesting situations in a game. So when you get kicked out of the Q1, you don't know who will be on pole position. So over here, we can bring you the rundown. You can see clearly the differences. So we don't need to see who is the fastest. That's the first time a non-Ferrari driver is first. It is the reigning world champion Max Verstappen for Red Bull, who was at the front of the queue. Second, Fernando Alonso, Aston Martin.
Martin. Then the Mercedes boys, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, third and fourth. Then the Visa Cash App RB, help with the fifth, Yuki Tsunoda, sixth, Daniel Ricciardo. We will see if the grid will be like that. 7, Kevin Magnussen, Haas. 8, Pierre Gasly, Alpine. 9, the home hero, Zhou Guanyu, Kick Sauber, with already almost 2 seconds down, because if you were back at the queue, you could easily lost so much time. 10, Logan Sargent for Williams. So that tells you that if Sargent is even faster than Albon, clearly, you know, something went wrong. So over here, how does the back over here look like? So you can literally see, yeah, so as a result, you know, we went back, and here you can see, obviously, what then happened over here is that we were unable, you know, to make it, and we qualify 17. So yeah, here you can see that we got almost identical time with Charles Leclerc, right? 139.310, me 139.317. You know, we did miss out in the end by over half a second, actually by a tenth, so it was really close. You can see Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon, Alexander Albon behind us. They were not able to do better. You can see the difference is pretty much everybody from you know, Bottas downwards, over 3 seconds slower. So yeah, this is how it finished over here. So I'm really disappointed about it. Obviously I didn't want it to finish like this way, but yeah, sadly this is how the qualifying panned out over here in the Shanghai, on the Shanghai International Circuit. Once again, we did struggle. So yeah, we will have to wait for one more year over here to obviously plant it on the pole position. It will make it more difficult. I guess the silver lining is, of course, during the sprint weekend, you do not have, because you do not have so many sets of tires. We have actually, you know, we've been able to definitely save, you know, the soft sets of tires, also the medium. So, you know, we will be flying tomorrow. We cannot put on the medal. That belongs to somebody else. I'm really disappointed. You can see that already the first lap was slow, and then I wasn't able to get within 5 seconds, you know, of my best qualifying time. So I'm really disappointed, but, you know, nevertheless, we will see what happens in the race. Definitely stay tuned. I still think we can win, but if we can make it to the podium or high scoring points, that will be very important, so that we still are aiming to have that perfect sprint weekend, right? We won the sprint. The points are given on Sunday in a sprint or in a Grand Prix, so nothing is lost. The weather should be fine, so if it's not going to be raining, then we can pretty much stick to the right strategy. I do believe it will be a two-stopper, so probably we will do soft, medium, soft, or medium, soft, soft, and, you know, show the guys, you know, who has the real pace. We were over a second quicker than the other guy in a sprint, so that should still power us. The big question will be how difficult will be the overtaking. It wasn't that straightforward, but yeah, overall I'm really disappointed. So my great run of the Grand Prix qualifying pole positions comes to the end. Hey, all the good things must come to the end, but we will regroup, we will win tomorrow, at least I hope so, and we will be back obviously then for Miami to start a new run, because we are the champions, and we are the smallest champion, Ferrari's biggest fan, Ferrari's fastest driver. I hope you like this qualifying session. Sometimes you have to learn how to do things better. Now we know to always, you know, be there when the conditions are at its best. And I'm sure we will be at pole position many more times. So let's go, Jan, the Smiling Sun champion. Let's go for the third win from the back of the grid here in Shanghai, China. Let's go, Forza Ferrari!